Cool.
So
man.
I'm right here with Slab City Jack from Slab City. Thank you for allowing me to interview you.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So I have a few questions from YouTube. There's
Oh.
some people that have asked questions.
Oh, really?
About you. Yeah, because I posted a live yesterday,
Oh, okay.
letting the people know, letting my subscribers know that I was going to come here and talk to you.
Got it.
So I asked him to give me some questions. So I have a few of those.
Sure.
And then I wrote a few of my own questions, right? So let's go ahead and begin with the basic questions, right? So how long have you been here?
I have been in Slab City for 10 years. In January 3rd of 2022, I will begin my 11th year in Slab City.
Okay. That's already a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you like it so far?
Well, I would have left if I didn't really like it. But where I came from, I would never go back to, you know. So I came here as an experiment. I didn't come here to live. I'll tell you that right now. I didn't decide I'm going to come down here and live in this desert with no running water or power lines. I was always interested in off-grid life, you know, for a long time, living on solar panels and whatnot. And then I was living in San Francisco, a very expensive city, and I'd lost one of my main jobs that paid my bills. I had some other jobs that didn't really pay my bills. They just bought my weed and my restaurant food and whatnot. So when I lost my main gig, I normally just throw my resume out there and I get another job right away. No problem. I was in property management. I managed apartment buildings. You know, I didn't quite look like this. And I found this place on the internet. I thought, wow, look at these crazy people. And there wasn't a lot of content on YouTube about Slab City. Just a few videos here and there. Looked interesting enough. I lost my job. They live in little travel trailers. I thought, well, instead of getting a job, I'm going to go down here and hang out with these people, basically. So on Craigslist, I found a trailer. I did it quick. So I found Slab City Christmas Eve. And January 1st, I had bought a trailer. January 3rd, I was sitting here in it. I had to move before I talked myself out of it. Because if I would have sat in San Francisco in my apartment and really thought this through, I would have never came here. I get wild ideas, you know, and I need to act on them quick. Because like most people, I'll talk myself out of doing the crazy stuff, right? And so this was a crazy thing to do. My friends and family thought, you're going to go live in the desert just above Mexico with no running water? I mean, really, what are you doing, Jack? Like, have you lost your mind? And I gave everything away. I gave everything away in my apartment except my books and my clothes and my cat. Came down here, was having fun. First summer was brutal, but I got through it. And then when the second season started, I was just having too much fun to go home. And the idea of being able to do what you want, right? And no rent. Okay, people need to understand this. When you have the weight lifted off of you of having to come up with X amount of dollars every 30 days just to exist, right? Just to keep the water line at your neck. In San Francisco, rent was high. Power bills were high. Food was high. It was expensive. When I didn't have to worry about that. There's no landlord out here. I don't have to give anybody any money every 30 days just to live. This is a RV, it's a tiny house, but I own it. So I own my own home. No mortgage, sitting on land that I pay no property taxes on. The sun never sends me a power bill. I got 2,000 watts of power. You know, I run an air conditioner, swamp cooler, refrigerator, freezer, lights, my phone, my internet. I have everything I had in San Francisco, and it's free.
Or now that you mentioned about having to pay bills every 30 days, where does that come from? That whole idea of having to come up with rent money,
I think
utility monies every 30 days. Like, who made it? I mean, I've never really thought about that.
I believe that was when people decided that you could actually own property. When you could take a piece of this planet and say, I own this. and you want to be on
The-
it, you're going to pay me.
The right to property, that's like a fundamental belief system of the United States, right? The right to own property. That's like
yeah.
part
And
of the
I do believe
that's a
in
part
that
of
right.
that's a part of the American dream.
And I do believe in that right. You know,
Yeah.
I don't blame someone for buying a block of property in a city and building a building and charging people to live in it. You know, it's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, in some cities, you can't really afford. If you want to live there, it's going to take 70% of your income. And I mean, what kind of life are you having if you're just grinding it out to give all your money to somebody for the roof over your head? It doesn't seem it doesn't seem worth. And I'm 61 years old, so I can look back at this now and say it's not worth it. I'm telling you guys right now, climbing the corporate ladder, you know, trying to accumulate all these consumer goods that they're telling you gotta have. It's gonna make your life great. You don't need it. You're better off without it. You really are. You don't need half the shit you got. I know people that's got stuff, they don't need that crap. They spend a lot of money on it. They spend a lot of money to upkeep it.
And people would do. Some people are willing to go to some crazy lengths to accumulate, to get things.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're willing to backstab family.
Oh yeah.
They're willing to betray friends.
Yeah.
Just
be
to
evil. Yeah, there's evil, you know. I mean, just think about people that want fame. They want the fame and the fortune. You got to practically make a deal with the devil. You know, you got to deal with Satan if you want all that. You want $20 million to make a movie. I mean, those people in Hollywood, those egotistical bastards that, you know, want to be super famous and super rich. Well, you know, they're making deals with the devil. You know, they're all, you know, they're dabbling in Satanism to get all that. So that's not worth it, you know. And then the lower levels, like you said, just people stabbing, you know, especially corporate ladder, right? And you get a job, and you get up in a position, you get yourself your corner office, you can't relax because there's people underneath you that want to take your head off and get that office. So you got to be, you know, always on your game.
Mm-hmm.
What a vicious fucking thing that is. How is it? Can you imagine living like that? Like every day.
Yeah. But
Never relaxing, man.
I think it's like that everywhere. Even I remember the jobs that I've had, there's always people talking, like criticizing you.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
looking for ways like to put you down.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just people that are making the same amount of money that I was making, like $12 an hour, $11 an hour. You know.
Yeah.
Not even a lot of money.
No.
But okay, so you already answered. Where did you come from? You said from San Francisco.
Yeah. But I wasn't born there, by the way. I moved to San Francisco when I was 23, and I stayed there until I was 51. And I moved to Slab City when I was 51. So from 23 to 51, I was in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. Except for in the mid-90s, there was 3 years I lived in Japan. I lived in Japan for 3 years, and I lived in South Korea briefly for a little bit.
So what'd you do there?
I was working for a interior decorating and remodeling company, and we refurbished the interior of hotels. So I worked for a company out of San Jose, California that flew me to Tokyo and put me up in a hotel. I ran a crew. I didn't run the crew at first. I was just part of the crew. But eventually, after about a year, I became the supervisor.
So you were living the American dream.
Yeah, in Japan. I was living the Japanese dream, which is more fun than the American dream
for
an American.
but you said that San Francisco company is the one that sent you over there. Right?
A company in San Jose, California. I got hired by a company out of San Jose.
Which was an American company.
Which was an American company, yes. It was an American company who had contracts in Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, so you were living you were living pretty good.
Yes. I have always for some reason got very lucky with employment, and it's always to be brutally honest, it's not my skills, it's who I know. It's like I meet these people and I have conversations with them, and the next thing you know, I got a cushy job. Like, I never managed an apartment building before in my life. I had a conversation with a guy, he goes, I think you can manage this building, I'll give you 30 days, see if you can hold it together and collect the rent. That's how I got into property management. I met another guy, had a conversation with him about how traveling and and I was always been interested in Japan. And this guy goes, "Hey, I know a company." Da 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 da. Next thing I know, this guy's giving me a call, and I'm in Japan. I'm living in Japan.
You're making good money. You were making
very,
good
very good money. Very good money. And no, again, it was a no rent situation because I lived in the hotels that I was refurbishing.
Okay.
So I had free rent, free electricity, cable TV, you know, everything you get in a hotel, right? Plus maid service, fresh towels every day. I got a salary and a per diem, which wasn't taxed. So I got 2 checks every Friday. I was an American man living in Japan. I was a heterosexual male, very much into women. So I was in heaven because the Japanese girls, it's like a rock star to them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like all this women and this money, and I'm in a country where I can't read any signs. I can't speak. After 2 years there, I started speaking Japanese. I did learn Japanese eventually because, you know, after 3 years there, you better start talking to people. But yeah, I had a wild time. But yeah, I came back.
Did you do any drugs over there in Japan?
Mushrooms.
Okay.
And I'll tell you how I came across those was I picked them myself. I was down in an island chain called the Okinawa Islands in the South China Sea, south of it's Japan. Japan claims the islands the way we claim Hawaii, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Hawaii is actually America, but if you were from Japan and you flew to Hawaii and that was your version of America, that's really not America, right? That's Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we claim, well, Japan's the same way. The Okinawa Islands, the Okinawan people are their own people. They have their own culture, but Japan is part of Japan. So I'm in these island chains, and I'm on the main island, and I'm in again, having a conversation with someone,